Kia ora everyone, it's Munib from Social Driving Academy, and today I have Caitlyn with me for a restricted mock driving test. So Caitlyn, you're not booked in for your test yet, are you?
I'm going end of April.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
you are, so end of April. And you've had your learner license for 2 years now,
Yeah.
2019 February. And you've been doing a bit of driving in between, have you?
Yep, I drive most days. Yep, and then obviously practicing with the parking and so on. So yes.
Oh yes, excellent. And will this be your first attempt at the test then?
Yes, in New Zealand. I tried in South Africa with a manual car,
Yes.
which was slightly more difficult, but in New Zealand it's my first time.
Ah yes. How did you get on in South Africa with your driving test then? Was it a practical, was it?
Yeah. So obviously learners is theory and then practical with the car.
Ah yes.
Yeah.
Is there a restricted like we have here in New Zealand, or is it straight learner and then practical full?
Yeah, straight from learner straight to full license. So
Ah yes, excellent.
Slightly different.
So I'm guessing your attempt there wasn't successful. That's why you're going through the learner process here. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right then. So what we're going to do today is a restricted mock test. You've watched some of the videos. So like the videos, I'll give you directions. You know, left turn, right turn. We'll have an attempt at the different maneuvers, like the parking and that. Unlike the test, I like to try and give feedback as we drive along. And then I also take notes so that you don't have to remember everything, and then we'll have the video as well. Yeah, and then at about the 50-minute mark, we'll come back over here, and then we'll debrief, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah? Caitlyn, do you have any questions before we begin?
Not just yet.
Okay. So whenever you're ready then, let's move off, and then let's exit out of the car park here.
Okay. Do I have to press this?
Yes, you do. Yeah, that's a locking mechanism. And then we'll do a left turn at the end here. Do another left turn at the end here. And this is all a 50k zone, Caitlyn. At the traffic light, we'll turn left. And we'll turn left into the first street on the left as well. Another left turn into the first street on the left. At the end of the road, turn right. And then let's turn right into the next street. Just around the corner, yeah, the line's a bit faded there. Yeah. Obviously, someone's been practicing the driving. Right turn. That's not going to be part of our lesson today. Doing burnouts.
They really went crazy over here.
At the intersection straight ahead. At the end of the road, turn right. At the next street, turn right. And work your way around the dead end. Let's turn back around. Good. At the end of the road, turn right.
Sorry, I'm just gonna adjust my phone. I just
Yeah.
realized it's a bit low.
At the end of the road, turn right. Caitlyn, do you know what the speed limit here is? Yeah. I was going to ask you to slow down, but then I thought I'd better ask you what the speed limit is, whether you know. Right turn into the next street. Yeah, obviously just keeping an eye on that speed, because 5Ks over the speed limit is a critical error, and 10 is an immediate fail. So
just like with my car, I'm so used to, like, you know, I do watch the speed. Maybe
Yes.
it's just the new car.
Yes, of course, of course.
So if I go 5 below the speed, it would be okay as well.
It would
5K
be
below.
depending on the conditions. Like for example, here, you know, I'd expect you to stick to the speed limit. You know, I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect you to go 5k under.
Yeah.
But certainly, if we were going through some busy, built-up areas, then it'd be like, okay, yeah, it's acceptable here. But you can be marked down for driving too slow.
Oh, yeah, I have seen. Yeah, okay.
Left turn at the end of the road. And then a right turn into this next street. Cool. So I'll start looking for a car for you to reverse parallel park behind, Caitlyn. When I see one, I'll ask you to park up next to it.
Hopefully my practicing with my big car has helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Should be a breeze in the small car
Yeah.
then. Yeah, how about we park up next to this car here then? And it's check both your blind spots before you do any reversing. Yeah. So critical error for not checking your blind spot.
Okay.
If it cancels the indicator from now on forth, you know, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as it's on
When you're first parked up. Good. Cool. Yeah, that was okay, I suppose. You know, you've indicated left as you've pulled up. Add in a mirror and a blind spot check to the left as well, because you're pulling up, and then you've gone into reverse. Add in the 2 blind spot checks before you begin any reversing.
Yeah.
Do you know how long you have for the reverse parallel park?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah? So you've got loads of time.
Yeah.
You know, do those checks first,
Okay.
and then do those checks in between as well, you know, while you're reversing and you start to steer to the left, your front end starts to swing out to the right.
Yes.
You know, do another check then,
Okay.
because it's probably taken us about 20 seconds to do this maneuver right now.
Okay.
And then you've reversed, and then you've waited till you've paralleled the car, and then you've pulled forward, so that's fine. You've stopped between 1 and 2 meters of the car in front, that's good as well. It looks like we're probably about a meter away from the driveway behind us, so that's okay as well. We do have some forward space, like if we needed to, we could pull forward some more. But you are slightly, it looks like you're a little bit far away from the curb. Do you know how much within you need to be off the curb?
30 centimeters.
30 centimeters, yeah. So let's have a look.
Oh goodness.
Probably just over, you know, maybe about 40, 50 centimeters there.
Yeah.
So what you could have done then was when you paralleled yourself, if you could then look into your mirror and identify whether you're close enough, and if not, you know, you could reverse back some more than what we did.
Turn to a bit to the left.
Turn a little bit to the left, and then just get that little bit closer, and then especially because we're on a corner as well,
Yes,
you know, and then people will probably be, you know, going a bit left as well, and we're too far right. Cool. Yeah, besides that, that's not too bad, just the positioning and the blind spot checks.
Okay.
Cool. So Caitlyn, whenever you're ready, you can move off. Thank you. check both your blind spots before you do any reversing. That's a biggie because
Okay.
you know this. Like you need to check your blind spots in so many different situations, and it's a critical error when you don't.
Okay.
Besides being a safety issue, right?
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You could probably just come a little bit more left here, Caitlyn, so that there's no risk of us touching the line or crossing the center line, you know? That's it. Right turn at the end of the road.
So with the solid line, would I have to indicate now?
Yes, you would. Yes, it's a merge to the left. Yes. So that's an acceleration lane where you move in, but it's really short. But it's an acceleration lane, and then you need to indicate left. Mirror, blind spot left. Nicely done. Yep, just keep an eye on that speed. Just watching that speed as well. At the traffic light, we'll turn right using the left lane, the left turning lane. That's it.
Am I correct in saying this is a 60?
No, it's a 50 zone.
Oh, yeah.
Just past the 50k sign when we've made the turn, and then at a left turn at the second set of lights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the road being so wide, it's kind of deceptive.
Yeah.
You'd think that this is a higher speed zone.
Yeah.
Left turn. At the traffic light, right turn. You'd add in a blind spot check there as well, Caitlyn, because you're changing lanes.
Yeah. Like it's good I've come to you because I need to get rid of my bad habits.
Yeah, for sure. Straight ahead. Yeah, that's quite a common one though, like people not checking their blind spots. See how the indicator cancelled itself?
Yeah.
If you'd sort of gone around that second corner and then indicated left, you know, just sort of after the exit before ours,
Yeah.
and then the indicator will work. And so
Okay.
right turn at this roundabout. That's it. Right turn at the end of the road. Yep, stay in this lane. Go wide, Caitlyn. Yep, go wider, go wider, go wider. Yep. Here's the 50k sign here, heading in this direction.
It's so short, the 60k zone.
What? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's a bit strange. I mean, with the road being so wide and double lane. It's like keep it at 50. Keep it at 50. When safe, Caitlyn, let's change lanes to the right. Watch that speed, watch that speed, still a 50 zone. Stay in the right lane, we'll do a right turn at the traffic light. Whenever the lane does go from 1 into 2, Caitlyn, like the lane splits, it'd be great if you could indicate to show which lane you're moving into, and then add in a mirror and a blind spot check. Right turn at the traffic light. When safe, let's change lanes to the left. You could leave your indicator on until you've completed your lane change. Left
I just realized I did it. So this would mean I could turn.
Correct.
Yep.
At the next street, turn right.
Would that be a blind spot as well? Would I have to check blind spot there too?
If you're entering into the turn bay as soon as it opens up, then the blind spot isn't required.
Oh, yeah.
But if you are changing lanes into the turn bay or the flush median, then yes.
Okay, thank you.
Straight ahead. Same again here, because the lane split into two.
Okay.
Good. And Caitlyn, what I do with the merges is I indicate first
Okay.
and then add in the mirror and the blind spot after,
Okay.
just so your indicator's going for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Ideally that 3 seconds.
Okay.
Left turn at the traffic light. At the traffic light, turn left. At the next street, turn right. Turn right into the next street. Actually, Caitlyn, this is the second street on the right. We missed the turn that we were.
Oh, damn.
That's right. Continue straight through. So with that sort of maneuver, you know, when you do a left turn and then right turn over here, and then you're doing an immediate turn in the opposite direction, if the testing officer gives you sufficient notice, ideally you want to look in that direction, identify the turn, Yeah, this turn here.
This one.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Identify the turn before you start to accelerate off. I waited till you'd come out of the turn and then I gave you that direction. Before you'd start to accelerate off, ideally you'd scan, you know, try and identify that turn.
I need to scan in advance.
Yeah. Or even when you're turning, you know, you could be doing that as well. It's a lot of scanning, but you could be turning and looking for street signs, speed signs, hazards. Good. And then coming back over. Nice. And same to add in a blind spot check when you're moving to the right and when you're moving to the left. Right turn at the roundabout, second exit. And don't forget to indicate left to exit, yeah?
Once I pass the first exit, once I press the pass exit, then I'll indicate left.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight ahead. Second exit. Good. First exit at the roundabout. At the roundabout, straight ahead, second exit. I'd sort of make that turn to the right first, and then I'd indicate left. We'll have another roundabout coming up next, so we can have a go at that. So maybe I'd just delay the indicator just a little bit longer, and then I'd steer to the right and then indicate, and then it won't cancel. I mean, so long as you indicate, that's the important thing. But just to avoid that hassle of the indicator cancelling. So I'd steer left first, we'll go straight ahead. And then I'd steer right, and then I'd indicate, yeah. At the end of the road, turn left. Good. Let's turn left into this first street. It's just the one lane.
I thought it was a merge.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure what's going on with those markings. They need to get rid of one or the other.
Yes, because it's quite confusing.
Yeah. You know, with your cornering, if you sort of like with the right corner, if you start from the left and then slowly work your way to the right, that will help you avoid getting too close to the center line as well. So like if you're starting from the left and then slowly drifting over to the right with a right hand corner, and then the opposite with a left hand corner, start from the right and work your way to the left. Because you are getting a little bit close to the center line, you know, and left turn creates that risk when you've got oncoming vehicles and wide vehicles, all that sort of stuff. Left here and then right into the next street. Good. Left turn into the next street. And let's have you pull over to the left anywhere along here. Don't forget the blind spot check to the left. So anytime you're pulling over, you're moving off. And then when safe, Caitlyn, let's do a 3-point turn. So let's turn around, maybe give way to that truck depending on where they're going.
He seems to be standing still.
Yeah, it's stalling. Just wait.
Yeah.
Check both your blind spots, the one to the left as well, yep. And then steer to the left, yep. And that's good enough. There's enough clearance in the front for us to be able to move off again. Yep. And then a right turn at the end of the road. Is that something that you've practiced much, Caitlyn, the 3-point turn?
Yeah.
You have?
Yes.
So remember, just when you're reversing, you know, ideally you steer to the left, so that when you turn, you know, that you're keeping on the left side of the road rather than coming straight back onto the wrong side of the road. And then once you have that clearance in the front again, then you can stop there and then move off.
I think, like, because I'm so used to, like I said, like my big car, like the way I've been practicing, maybe I could.
Yes, sure, no worries. At the end of the road, right turn. Something I haven't been able to check off so far is whether you know how to use a flush median when turning from a minor into a major road. Is that something that you've done a bit of?
I haven't practiced it too much, but I have done it a few times, so I'm hoping I'll be okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's try that. So, you know, if the opportunity pops up, then let's, you know, have a go at using the flush median, moving into it and then merging out. And even if both sides are clear, then let's just have a practice at it as well.
Okay, that's fine.
Nice. Good. And same again, you could wait till you're completely in your lane and then worry about cancelling signal. Not a biggie, but just something that would tidy things up a little bit.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, that was good. I'd probably want to, considering this is a 60k road, I'd probably want to accelerate a little bit more when I'm moving off to get up to the road speed as quick as possible or promptly as possible. At the traffic light, let's turn right. And same again there, indicate first if you can, if you can remember, indicate first and then check your mirrors, check your blind spot, so that it allows that 3 seconds to lapse with your indicator. Because what you're doing is, I think you're, and then you're indicating and it's quite short.
Yeah.
.50k road, Caitlyn. Did you notice the signs when we turned in?
I did. I think
You did?
the car, like, I get carried away, to be honest.
Like the need for speed.
I need to practice that.
Yes, yes. You're right with your speed control in your own car?
Yes, definitely. Like, some days I'm like, I should be by 60 and then I'm like 55. So, like, I do feel more control with my car.
Yes, of course, of course. Just a little bit slower, just coming back down to 50. And then stay in the right lane, yes. Yeah, that's valid. When there's a change of car. But also that, then, you should ideally get enough practice so that, you can adjust speed, right turn at the traffic light. So, practice driving in, different cars and get used to how much to accelerate, how much to... let's have another practice at the reverse parallel park, just to make sure that that wasn't a fluke. Left turn into the next street. Same again, I'll start looking for a parked car to parallel park behind. Remember, when I spot it, indicate, check mirrors, check blind spot as you pull up next to it.
And before I reverse.
Yes, yes. And while you're reversing too, you know, stretch out that time, you know, use up that 2 minutes. So go from left to right, looking up into the corner, so you can determine, you know, how deep it is, how long it is. And then with the left-hand corner, start from your right, and then slowly drift to the left, away from the center line. Right corner, start from the left, and then drift to the right. Right turn at the end. Good, yes. Straight ahead. At the next street, turn right. Yep, this one here. You can pull forward a little bit more, so that when you are turning, you know, you're not cutting into the oncoming lane, wherever that might be. Let's pull up next to the Suzuki. Yes, the white car, sorry. Okay. So, yep, gear into reverse. And then check both your blind spots just before the reverse maneuver. Q. So remember, you've got 2 minutes, so you've got loads of time. Take your time. Keep monitoring the blind spots. Now we can see that you're going to be a little bit far away, so you can use that backward space to get closer to the curb.
Yep.
By steering to the left and reversing back some more. Just carrying on, reversing back, but then you're going to need to steer to the left because you've got your wheel turned. Yeah, keep coming back, Caitlyn. Yep, more steer to the left. Is that full? Yeah, yeah. That's it. Keep coming back. And then turn your wheel back to the right to parallel. Yep. To parallel the car, and then just come back a little bit more, because you can reverse back up to 7 meters behind that car. So lots of steer, more steer, Caitlyn, more steer, yeah, there. And then all we've got to do is pull forward. Yeah, because we kind of overshot the parallel, you know, when we were straightening up.
Yeah.
You kind of overshot it. Otherwise, if you hadn't overshot it, then you could have just continued steering to the left to get closer to the curb, and then we would have been in this position. Yes. But then we had to fix for that, and then, yeah, but that's what you can do. If you realize you're too far away, just keep reversing back and to the left some, and then you'll end up nice and close to the curb. Yeah, that's better.
And that's better. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's reverse back some more, and then do another 3-point turn, turn around.
So do I put my indicator on before I reverse back in this situation?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah. Same again, it allows that 3 seconds, yeah. The more notice you give people, the better. Check both your blind spots. That's it. Keep coming back. And then a 3-point turn. Or a U-turn if we can get away with it. Yep. Cool. So remember, lots of steer to the left, because you want to
put my indicator on.
No, you don't have to anymore. So lots of steer first, yes. And then once we've got that forward space, yep, that's good enough.
Okay, that's where I've been going wrong now. See what you mean.
Yeah. Because you want to try and stay left as much as possible, and by steering left, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, because I was going too much back when I was practicing. Yeah.
Left turn. And also probably something else to practice is like when things go wrong with the reverse park, what do you do, you know?
Yeah.
If you end up too far away or if you end up too close, how to fix for that.
Yes.
Right turn into the VTNZ using the next driveway.
This one?
Yes, this one coming up.
Oh.
Here we go. So these are both one-way driveways.
Okay.
And then pull up left into any one of these parking spaces. Cool. Yep. You're probably just a little bit over this line, or you're just on top of it.
Should I correct it?
Don't worry about correcting, Caitlyn, but let's just get you to reverse out to the left like this, so that we can continue in that direction. Into reverse. Check both your blind spots first. And then a right turn. And then I'll just get you to reverse into one of these spots here, or into one of the spots on the right hand side if you can. The lines are a bit faded, but do your best to try and get into in between one of them.
Which one do you think would be best?
Any one of them. Just yeah, just reverse into any one of those spots there.
To be honest, I haven't really practiced.
No. Yeah, just full steer to the right, and then we'll to the right that way. So looking at our position right now, we're probably aiming for 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's it. And when you see that right line in your right mirror, you can start to parallel when you see the right line nice and close to the car. Yeah. Perhaps a little bit more to the right. Because then you could look into this mirror as well and just to see whether you're in between the two lines and a bit faded. Yeah, that's it. Probably more steer to the right. And if not quite right, let's just pull forward and then we can realign ourselves. Yeah, nice. That's it. Good. Check both your blind spots, Caitlyn, and steer more to the right, I think. Yep, you need to get closer to that right line. Yeah, more steer to the right, more steer to the right. Yeah. Yes, a little bit more, and then fix to the left parallel. Yeah, because you can see the line now.
Yeah.
You're on top of it. And center the wheel now. Now that you're nice and straight, and then just come straight back a little bit more. Yeah. Cool. All right, gear into park, handbrake up. All right, leave the ignition running, and you're welcome to pull back a little bit if you want. Yeah. All right, how was that?
I think I probably failed. But with my test, definitely I need more practice.
Yeah.
With the speed control.
Yeah.
And 3-point turn as well. And now I know that I don't have to go all the way back.
Yeah.
Like watching videos and so on. Like I thought I had to go all the way back and then
yes,
going to drive. So.
Yeah, by going all the way back, there's two things that happen. You're dragging out that 3-point turn as well. So you're not promptly moving off as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Which which creates greater risk for you because you're sitting in the middle of the road for longer, right?
Yeah.
Right, than necessary. And then also that if you're going straight back, then you're potentially being an obstruction to traffic on that side of the road. Whereas if you just steer to the left, keep moving. Yeah, and the blind spot checks as well, right? Yes. That's something that we've talked about quite a bit with before you do any reversing. While you're reversing as well, monitor the blind spots as well. And then with entering into a flush median, exiting out of a flush median, that 3-point turn, when you're making that first maneuver, pulling over, moving off, pretty much every situation where you've got to indicate, besides a turn to the left or a roundabout, unless there's a cycle lane or a bus lane there and you're changing lanes across. So lots of blind spot checks.
Yes.
Practice. We also, same thing there. We talked about checking the blind spots before you do any reversing. And then we talked a little bit about scanning. We talked about scanning into the turn as you make the turn so that you can identify any speed signs, the next turn, if that's what the testing officer prompts you to do. Mergers, all of that sort of stuff, hazards.
Yeah.
In the beginning, particularly, I noticed that when you were turning left, you'd turn a little bit wide. When you turn out, you'd go a bit wide.
Yeah.
So ideally, when you turn left, you keep to the left of the lane, and then you turn into the left of the lane. And when you turn to the right, that you turn from the right into the right, without cutting the corner, of course, of the oncoming lane. And then we also talked a little bit about indication timing. One, we talked about making sure that you indicate left as you exit a roundabout. Remember that right turn that we did, and then you didn't indicate left. And then we also talked about the timing of the indicator so that it doesn't cancel. And then in terms of the maneuvers, the reverse park, the first attempt was okay, just that you needed to check both your blind spots before you reversed and then while you're reversing as well. And then just making sure that you're positioned within 30 centimeters of the curb.
Would that be like a critical error?
It wouldn't be a critical error. The blind spot checks would be, but not the spacing.
Okay.
The spacing comes under this other sort of assessment criteria called task items or assessment items, and you lose points or you accumulate points. It's quite a complex thing, but it's not something that would be a critical error. But ideally, you're able to position yourself to the left, right? You use that backward space. If you notice that you're too far, you just get closer and then you pull up. Be nice and easy. And same thing with that second maneuver. So in general, I'd say practice the parallel park more. So that you're checking those blind spots, so that you're taking your time, you're using up that 2 minutes, and then you're finishing in a perfect position, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that you indicated, check your mirrors, check your blind spot for the dead end. I'd probably recommend just indicating a little bit sooner though, and then perhaps also starting to monitor your blind spot a bit sooner too. Especially when it's like on a busy day and you've got lots of people coming in from behind you. The 3-point turn, I suppose for both attempts, steer left when you're reversing, and then as soon as you've got that clearance in the front, you can stop and then move off again. The flush median from the top of the road, so a couple of times in the beginning, particularly when you change lanes into the flush median, you didn't check your blind spot, and then we talked about that, and you started to check your blind spot towards the end. There was a couple of attempts that we did. The flush median from the bottom, that was good. So we had a practice at that. I just recommend maybe indicating first, checking your mirror, checking your blind spot, making sure that no one's there, and then just promptly moving off. Because I think when you checked your blind spot, I think it wasn't quite timed right, because then you had to double check, and then that kind of caused you to hesitate with your acceleration, I think. I don't know if you recall now, but I felt like you were going to accelerate, and then you kind of hesitated and then did another blind spot check.
So is it okay to, if you're on the flash median, like still carry on going at like
up to 50 meters? Is how far you can continue driving in the flush median.
But we have to slow down.
Yes.
On the flash?
Yes. Yeah. Slow down so that you don't exceed that 50 meters, or even stop if you need to. And check your mirrors, indicate, have a nice thorough check, and then accelerate off. So that was good. The change lanes, we did a couple of change lanes. They were good, except I was asking you to indicate first, and that's just going to give people enough time to identify what you want to do, and it will make it easier for you trying to change lanes. People will start to adjust for you. The lane merges, that was fine too. The lane splits, when the one lane split into two. One, we talked about indicating, checking your mirror, checking your blind spot, regardless of which lane you're moving into. And the other thing is, by default, you would move into the left lane, right? So if the testing officer didn't say anything, you'd always just move into the left. Cool. And then same thing here with the reversing that we've just done there. Check both your blind spots before you do any reversing. And then we also talked about, I liked that you indicated when crossing the center line, but if you could also add in a mirror blind spot check both ways. So we talked about that, talked about the blind spots before reversing, and then we also just talked about the positioning when you're turning left and turning right, and perhaps even going around corners. So that when you're going, let's see if I have. So that when you're doing a right corner, for example, you start from the left and then you drift over to the right, but still keeping that distance away from the center line. But that just ensures that you don't cross the center line, or that you don't get too close. And if it's a left corner, you start from the right and then move away from it. So overall, not too bad, Caitlyn. Yes, certainly it wouldn't have been a pass today, but not too bad of an attempt. There's a couple of critical errors there for going 5k over the speed limit in the 50 zone, and then a couple for going 10k's over the speed limit there, which are immediate failures. A couple of critical errors there for not checking your blind spots. This one's for the parallel park, and then that one's for the flush median. and then a critical error for not indicating left out of that roundabout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not too bad. It's the 6th today. You've got your test on the 11th.
At the end of April.
Oh, at the end of April. Yeah, that's heaps of time.
Yes, I thought I'd just get like a mock test in now.
Yeah.
Then I can see where I'm going wrong, and then perhaps just before I go again.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll email you through this report.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, do a little bit of practice, and then I'd even maybe suggest, like, if you can, maybe if you feel comfortable and confident, then bring your test forward, maybe to the mid of April rather than the end. If you can, all you'd have to do is just keep an eye on the testing booking website, and then do a reschedule. And it's generally free if it's at least 2 days away from your test. Yeah, because then otherwise you'd be unnecessarily sort of waiting another 7 weeks or so, right?
Yes, yeah.
6-7 weeks. Yeah. How do you feel about all of that?
Oh, I need to practice. I really do.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit more practice. Yeah, let me know how you get on, and if you need a hand practicing, then we could definitely do another session and then focus on these issues. Cool.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Caitlyn. Well, I'll end the video here. Let me know if you do need a hand, with some of the stuff. We could do a driving lesson versus a driving assessment where I'm identifying the issues. Now that we know what the issues are, the blind spot checks, the technique with the parallel park and the 3-point turn, and then a little bit around the positioning there as well. So that's sort of the patterns there. And then we could add in some scanning as well, which the blind spots fall under. Cool. All right, thank you, Caitlyn. Well, I'll end the video here. Thank you for choosing to come to me for your mock test. Good luck with your test preparation, and then we look forward to hearing back from you on how you get on with your practice, and then eventually how you get on with your test.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, then. GoPro, stop recording.